Happy Monday, everybody, and welcome to another week of racing here at Woodbine Mohawk Park. No Mohawk Million hangover for me, and no Mohawk Million hangover for my co-host as well, the Hall of Famer Randy Waples. Tough to live up to what was an exceptional Saturday night program. It's not often that oftentimes we build up a card and we hype it up. We were so excited for it. It's not as often that it lives up to it from start to finish because the racing that night was fantastic.
Yeah, here's a funny story there for you. So we watched Emoticon Legacy win in 49-4, new track record for 3-year-old trotting colts. Never thought I'd see it happen, but we did watch it happen, and it was a really good effort. Sunday morning, I'm on YouTube, and the race pops up, and it's my father setting the track record for 3-year-old trotting colts here at Mohawk in 1985, 159 flat.
How about that, eh?
Now how's that?
Crazy.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
In winning the Simcoe.
Yeah.
Won the Simcoe, set the track record in 59 flat, Emoticon Legacy. Saturday night, 149-4. That is a lot of difference.
We saw a lot of track records on Saturday, though, right? We saw a lot of exceptional performances. Again, we mentioned it on Saturday. There were a lot of chalks getting the job done there. I think some horses probably stood out in comparison to some other horses in the field, but they all earned it. Mm-hmm. Those favorites, they had to do it the hard way. Sometimes, Randy, we sit here and we watch certain races and we see a middle half pop up in 59 or a minute. Mm-hmm. It's hard to, take down horses that are going to take the bulk of the support when they're getting that kind of respect up top. And it wasn't the case on Saturday. Those favorites got challenged. You could see Sylvia. For a second, we questioned, is she going to get beat? And she dug in and got the job done. But again, everybody who got the job done that was deemed as the favorite, they certainly earned it, and they put forth great efforts.
The horses were amazing, but the drivers were just as amazing. Mm-hmm. That we had lots of action, going on in that. So, just a huge pat on the back for everybody on Saturday night.
I told race secretary Jimmy Gillespie this after the card, and I said, great job putting it together. Just
huge.
An exceptional job by him and the team. I know, a lot of hours and a lot of phone calls making sure they can have the star power on display in what was a fantastic Saturday night. And we're going to recap some of the stakes action here, and we're going to kick things off here with the Elegant Image. We're going to see here on the replay that it's going to be our Duchess drawing away from this field here halfway down the lane to get the job done. But it's Lasting Dream, who finished second in this outing, Randy, who's going to be placed up to the eventual winner after disqualification.
Yeah, and he has to do some threading the needle, Louis, to get her up the inside just to be second. Now she's going to, be placed up to first. Like, if she gets locked down in there, who ended up being third in there? Was it James?
It was Stormont Beautiful. Who ended up getting a second place finish. How about that by that Kevin Ben Chady? That filly's been racing really well. She's obviously has a certain way of racing, a certain style. She picked up a really good piece. Again, from the second tier, we said it. If there was one filly to start from the second tier, it would be her. But not shown in that video, though, obviously was some action around that first turn there. And that's why they unfortunately did have to put up that inquiry on our Duchess, who... Look, she drew away from them. She came into that event, showing that she was the best in that field, and she certainly raced like it. But of course, obviously the judges deemed that she caused interference and decided to make the decision that they did. And it was determination. Had a pretty big night. Was able to get the job done, but we never want to see that.
No,
on the stakes, it's unfortunate. We never want to see that happen.
No, that's for sure. But it does happen. That's racing.
Hamiltonian, right?
Yeah,
it happened with Dave Miller
and
Ron
right.
Burke, unfortunately, right? So not something you want to do, but rules are rules, I guess, right?
Yeah, that's the whole thing. I'll put it to you this way: I was much happier that I was sitting here, not having to make that decision upstairs.
Yeah, and you know what? Again, it kind of sucks to be placed up in that situation as well.
Sure
Never
does.
mind just being taken down. Nobody wants to be a winner. We spoke about it with Matt and Oaks, right? In the Meadowlands Pace. They didn't want to win by virtue of disqualification, right?
Yeah.
Nobody does.
Nobody does.
All right, we're going to move on to the next stakes event. We're going to move on to some 2-year-old pacing fillies. And I'll tell you what, Randy, this Lua Deepa caught my eye from her very first pari-mutuel start. And this is probably, to me, one of the most, or if not the most impressive performance of the night. This filly just has some kind of gear, doesn't she?
She does. She's just unbelievably amazing. And look at the body language on Ronnie Wren. All he's doing is just kind of talking to her, gives her a little bit of a snarl there, tap on the back pad, and she just keeps powering away from them. Plugs deep into the ears too, and just absolutely annihilated the rest of them.
What a year for Ronnie Wren again. Obviously, Lou Print here on Canadian soil, getting it done in the North America Cup, winning the Little Brown Jug. Getting it done with another. Sweet Lou progeny here, another homebred for Burke and Company. And again, their breeding operation, Randy, I mean, we just think of the job that Burke's done, training all these horses, the horses that they pick out at the sale and they're able to buy, from other connections, whether they become aged horses. He's got a superstar breeding operation here now, and we're starting to see it with a couple of horses, especially this year.
Well, I mean, so Emoticon Legacy is a Walner out of Emoticon Hanover. What does that one bring at the sale?
Yep.
Maybe $1 million.
Big time.
And now they're breeding them and bringing them out of the field.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So really, really very, very interesting operation that they're putting together. Determination stable, not been shy to basically start from scratch and build this broodmare band, and now he's going to reap the rewards, and I hope that he does. Way to go, Serge.
First two foals out of Emoticon Hanover, I believe it was Drawn Impression as well as Emoticon Legacy. I'd say they panned out pretty well. Both of them have been stars for Luke Blais.
I would have to say, for sure. So that's a nice picture.
Big time. And just a really nice filly. I look forward to seeing what she can do here, assuming she'll be back here for the Breeders' Crown. But man, that is just a nice filly. She's got all the speed as well. A full sister to Looks Good and Lulu, who captured a win in that Kentucky Sire Stakes final at the Red Mile just a few days ago. So a pretty good...
she's going to have a pretty good broodmare
category. I would have to say.
Pretty good broodmare, what do you call that, their career.
Big time. With all that speed and that bloodline, we're gonna be excited to get to see what she's gonna continue to do. But this was one of the tilts we were looking forward to, Randy. The battle of these two undefeated colts. This race lived up to expectations. Obviously, Bob McClure, Bojangles getting it done here in Dock Moore, and even Chad. I thought the call was sensational that Chad put forth here for this $1 million final.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Let's listen to that one, then we'll talk a little bit about it.
Comes T-Trick and Frantic Hanover. Sweet Love and Lou on the scene. Bojangles digging in. Frantic Hanover. Bojangles conquers the unconquered. He is absolute perfection.
Everybody knows going into this race how special this horse is. Yep. You know what I mean? And he just keeps showing that he's like an onion. They just keep peeling back the layers on this guy, and his is just sheer talent. I mean, look at the way he come out of the race. He's hardly blowing. You know what I mean? Completely, look at the bright eyes, ears straight forward, completely engaged. Let's do it again.
Yep.
Just an amazing, amazing animal, you know what I mean? And I couldn't be happier for a very good friend as Doc Moore that he has this, opportunity to train this kind of horse. He's trained great horses, but this could be one of the best ones that we've ever saw. And for those that don't know out there, and me and John were talking about this earlier too. So Doc Moore, you can see that picture, him and Nancy, his wife Nancy, pretty happy in the winner circle. He's in the Metro winner circle Saturday night with a horse that he trained. Sunday, where is he? He's in the Flamborough paddock performing the Ontario Racing Commission veterinary duties, so that they could race, that they can get the racing done at Flamborough right now. So there he is, Saturday night, Sunday night in Flamborough paddock, making sure that the horses can race. I mean, what an amazing guy. Recently gone into the Hall of Fame, and now we know why.
And you know what? Just like any other trainer or horseman, I mean, Doc Moore's such a busy schedule, on a weekly basis, and committing to be the vet at Flamborough Downs just so they can race. Just for the well-being of other, horse people as well, getting the opportunity to race, because with no vet, they can't go, right? Yeah. So obviously going there to allocate his Sunday nights and maybe I think another night or two as well at Flamborough Downs to be the
just
vet.
Amazing guy.
Again, you're winning $1 million race and the next day you're at Flamborough,
paddock.
Being a vet.
Yeah, being the paddock vet, so, just an amazing, amazing kind of guy. And boy, nobody deserves it any more than he does.
I'll tell you what, Frantic Hanover got a clean shot.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a really talented colt in his own right. He got a clean shot at Bojangles. Bojangles, he never even got an opportunity to look him in the eye. As T-Trick started, Doc's charge just kept pacing. And he just kept going. I mean, that was a huge effort. And again, it was the first turn. A 26 flat to make front, one and a half of 54. He had to put the pedal down, and you and I were just curious to see what was going to happen heading into that final turn, because you had Al Pappy to his outside, and we were thinking you got to use him as a pick, don't you? But you had to figure that T-Trick was going to find a way out in that spot. He did, and he took a shot, and he was second best on that night, simply put.
Absolutely, yeah. No, nothing against it, because
still a great call.
Still a great call, and the big thing is we go back to the same thing again. How deep is this guy?
Yeah.
How deep is Bojangles? I mean, We've only seen a few like him, in my opinion, anyway. You know, we can go there. A few weeks ago, people were trying to compare him to Some Beach Somewhere, and I mean, it's not fair to compare him just yet because he hasn't been able to do what Some Beach Somewhere's done yet. You know, I mean, this was a great 2-year-old, a great 3-year-old, and a great sire, so he's got big boots to fill. But as a 2-year-old pacing colt, boy, he's as close as I've ever seen to him.
Turned a lot of heads in those qualifying efforts leading up to his career debut, and just happy that we get to see Doc continue to do what he does. I know he was mulling a decision, maybe, is this going to be my last year?
Yeah.
I think when you've got a colt like this and you can think about what's at stake potentially next year, Doc put those, you know, rumors or maybe those reservations to rest. I mean, he just said, forget it. I'm going to come back. I want to see this guy's 3-year-old campaign through, and I think we're all better off for it as well.
He wants to see the end of the Bojangles movie.
Big time.
Yeah,
well, and then maybe he'll get another star rookie pacer, and then he's going to want to delay his retirement again. we wouldn't be opposed to that whatsoever.
Yeah,
so,
no, for sure.
Speaking of stars, though, I mean, we can spend all night talking about that race, and we spent all week talking about that one. We're going to move on to the Canadian Trotting Classic. You mentioned Emoticon Legacy. This guy has just continued to get better and better and better, and this was such a performance here as well, trotting a mile in sub 50.
I didn't think I'd see it, you know, not a 3-year-old. I mean, it was a long time coming for an older horse. Now all of a sudden there's a 3-year-old, you know, boom, here it comes again. And, you know, one thing as a driver too, we're not going to see it as good, but boy, when we zoomed up on Louis' hands, I'll tell you, is he ever doing some movement now with those hands? That left one especially. See how he's got it a little higher? He's not really taking a hold of the right line. He's steering him and just playing around with that left line. He's so light-handed, that kid. Unbelievable, you know what I mean? And it's just, you know, never fighting with him, never fights with the horses at all. You know, how can somebody that small get along so well with a 1,000-pound animal?
And you could, you know, obviously Louis talked about it a couple of times last year. This guy had a tendency to get a little bit keyed up and hot. And he said that was the first time where he kind of wanted to take off on his own. He was eager to do it, but he still did it in sub 50. But this is a colt, Randy, that just fights. I mean, Louis said it as well in the interview. When horses get up alongside him, he just wants to dig in and get the job done. And we saw that in all of his outings. We saw that even at Pocono in defeat. It took the very last step for Super Chapter, who many deemed as the best trotter in the division for quite some time leading up to that Hambletonian, as the one to be, or the best in the division. So, and that was a Emoticon Legacy, getting it done tooth and nail, right to the wire. I tell you what, he was very confident when he spoke about his colt, as he should be. You know, there's a chance by season's end he's going to be. He could end up being the best one in the division, and I think he's trending that way right now.
Yeah, he is. And I'll say another thing too. Luke Blais, I would say trending towards another O'Brien Award. You can give him Trainer of the Year, you can give him Horsemanship. I don't care. But this guy here, you know, how long have we seen this story, John? You know, even if his horses are coming in what we would consider to be maybe a little bit stale, a little bit light, when there's big money on the page, his horses perform like unbelievable.
Big time. Well, you were gonna, you know what? Speaking of which, though, you were gonna give him star of the card that night as well. Louis Juan and Determination, and Luke Blais. You were gonna give
that
them.
Was going to be the star of the card. Yeah.
They had a big night. Calico Jack Hanover, big mile. Drawn Impression was a really good third in that open trot, and obviously Emoticon Legacy with a super performance. And again, I'm curious to see what they're going to do with him as well, or where they're going to head. I know Luke kind of said potentially Lexington, or maybe just there might have been something else, and then Breeders' Crown. But I'd love to see him at Lexington in the futurity. I really would. I'd love
that be something? Yeah, it would be something.
Selfishly, I'm hoping that's the direction they go there. So,
and you just happen to be down there that week.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Yeah, added incentive for me to be there as well. So we're going to move on to the finale here in terms of
maybe
stakes
if Determination's looking for somebody to paddock the big horse, you're there.
I still need a couple of weeks of training. I can barely sit on a bike. I can't paddock. All right, we're gonna move on to the Mohawk Million, and this was our main event here tonight, Randy. And we got a chance to see two-star colts hook up and go toe-to-toe. And how about Endurance? He took the lead in this effort. I thought he was gonna get the job done. He got a soft second quarter, turned it up in that third quarter. And he's working him. And look at the body language on Dex and his colt. This Apex, he can take some air, and he wants to get it done. And he had every reason to maybe tire quite a bit. He just kept on moving forward.
Endurance went an incredible mile. What a nice horse. But unfortunately, he's going to be seeing this guy a lot probably in these Grand Circuit races. And this guy is very, very special as well. I mean, when Dexter moved him around the last turn, you want to talk about move a horse with authority. he came with him hard first over to get up alongside of Andy, making sure that he was taking nothing out of, leave nothing on the track, circumstances, chances, nothing. And this boy, he threw it down, and man, what an amazing horse. And how about Steve Stewart?
Yep.
What a night he had. He breeds endurance, and he owns this guy and bred this guy.
Yeah,
what a
amazing.
night. 1-2.
Yeah, amazing. He's had a lot of success in this Mohawk Million. I mean, whether he's bred a horse, whether he's owned a slot, whether he's co-owned as well. I mean, just had a great success in this race. We obviously thank him for the continued support of, I remember when it started several years ago. I think it's just been a pretty neat race, and we got a chance to see some of the, for the first time, arguably several of the top rookie trotters in the division, square off and, compete in this $1 million event. But, Dex said he wanted to let him survive that final turn. It was a cold two, struggled on that turn quite a bit, but once he got around there and he got just fine, Dex knew that he was likely going to have endurance measured. But back-to-back million titles for Dexter Dunn. Marcus Melander's third Mohawk Million title as well.
Were you not telling me that the girl that looked after this one, she also looked after Maryland when he won it last year?
Oh, well, Maryland and Apex now, so yeah.
Wow.
And Marcus Melander.
She's like the Dexter Dunn of grooms.
Exactly. So I'm sure if they've got a 2-year-old in to go and she's looking after one, there's going to be a good opportunity. You'd have to say as well, if history can continue.
I've got a feeling she likes the Mohawk Million.
Oh, big time. A lot of success. How could you not? But I have a feeling this guy really likes the Canadian Oval as well as the Mohawk Million. So we look forward to seeing Apex as well. He's got a buy into the Breeders' Crown.
Yeah,
so we're excited to see him back on Canadian soil as well. I'm just pumped up for Breeders' Crown, Randy. I mean, we got a chance to see the Mohawk Million card, the Metro card, all the talent that we got a chance to see. We're not done yet. We've still got the grassroots finals, the super finals, but we're also going to play host to the Breeders' Crown, and we're going to get a chance to see all these stars here once again, right in our backyard. So that was a lot of fun. A lot of fun.
It was a blast.
Yeah, I had a great time working as well.
Me too.
It flew by.
It did.
Yeah.
Yeah. 1 minute we started, and then all of a sudden it seems like we were getting into the, the mandatory high five payout.
And we'll get to that because we're going to look at the wagering menu and some of the wagering highlights, I should say, that happened over the course of the Saturday night program. You talked about Louis Philippois, four races that he captured on that Saturday night program. James McDonald captured a couple. And the biggest thing that James captured is that mandatory high five race because Uncle Shank got the job done in gate to wire in 148 and 4 out of the 10 hole. I remember I was sitting alongside you and I said this was a horse that I had marked down as go to him next time. But then he drew the 10 hole. I liked American History a little bit more, who raced really well to be second.
Good drive too by Dale Spence.
Yeah,
nice rated drive. He got stuck on the outside, but he didn't panic. Just kind of, grinded away.
And Uncle Shank obviously able to just bottom out that group. Look, he was in a good class, and when he's sharp, he can beat that group. And how about the handle that we generated? Card generated a record of all sources handle of over $4.6 million. Our previous record was $3.9 million in 2022. Look, we really thank the punters and the horse players for tuning into this card, participating on this card, and big shout out to the wagering team as well. And again, the race office, the way they sequenced, I always talk about race sequence is so important too on where you card races. They did everything perfectly. And just because you've got a sequence married to one race doesn't mean you can't change things around. And that's exactly what they did, right? They moved the pick 6 over to race number 5. They made it a mandatory payout in that pick 6, which generated a pool of over $50,000. That was a great pick 6 pool. It paid really well considering it was a pretty formful sequence. I believe over $750 for a buck. So just a great job by everybody involved. Thanks again for tuning in. Thanks again for playing, and hopefully we can ride that momentum throughout the end of the year as well.
We're lucky.
We're lucky.
We are, because we get to come here, we get to enjoy this, the whole thing. But I mean, for those out home there, the work that goes into these nights,
big time.
Whether it's the race office, the production crew, the paddock crew, the track crew, we didn't even talk about them. I mean, we had track records galore. Obviously they did their job too. So it takes a whole community to get it done, and we got it done Saturday night. So big thumbs up to you guys out there. Big thumbs up to everybody here on track.
Absolutely. And again, they're going to have to put in some work now for a couple of weekends that are going to be big here for the Breeders' Crown, but it's good fun.
It is.
Right? And it's kind of good stress to have, right? Because when we played host a few years ago, it was a really good showing, and I think this year's edition is going to be incredible yet again. So we spent quite a bit of time talking about Saturday, Randy, but again, we could have spent the whole pre-show talking about it because it was action-packed from start to finish. Even the undercards and the overnights were incredible as well. But we're going to move on to this Friday night. We're going to move on to this Monday night program here. And we're going to start with we're going to go horse to watch. So we're going to go back to our horse to watch from Saturday night. See?
Okay.
All right. We're still going to continue on to some Saturday night stuff.
There you go.
I couldn't even remember who your horse to watch was.
Right Mia Rose.
Okay, I believe it was. Yes,
Right Mia Rose.
You have a good eye. That's why when I got home, I marked him and said, all right, take it away, Randy.
Okay, so it's going to be Right Mia Rose in this race. He's not going to get the job done. Nice effort here by Dougie McNair. So let's take a look at our horse to watch Saturday night. And trust me, there was all kinds of them to watch. But this guy to me was sneaky good.
Yep.
You know, if you're kind of, you're not really going to notice just exactly how good he was unless you were really paying attention to him. Not much room here to get through. But he's just trying to soldier his way through it as best he can. You can see Doug looking nowhere to go there. So he's going to go to a different fishing spot, drop the line in here, and see if he's got a little bit more go, and he does.
Yep.
Good movement on the end of it. On the run out, you're really going to see a big movement heading around that turn too. So you can see Dougie way out on the outside here. So to me, Right Mia Rose, maybe a little bit over his head in that race, but drove conservatively, and he's going to come out of that race like a horse to watch should come out of that race.
You were really sharp on Saturday. You spot that horse. I can't catch you napping with the Bob McClure and Doc Moore thing with Joel and the Jets. I try. So no doubt about it. When the stakes action comes along, you're extra sharp as well. So and are we doing? I guess we alluded to Star of the Card earlier on. Yeah. So it would have been Luc Belay, Determination, and Louis Waugh. But we're going to move on to some stats and standings here and just showcase what went on over the past week with our top drivers as well as our top trainers. And as for the driver standings, curious to see who's going to show up here on this board. I don't even remember who had a huge week. I'm sure Louis Waugh is going to pop up on this board.
I would
there
say.
He is, number one with 11 wins. And how about those earnings? Over $800,000 in earnings. You know what? One horse that he got a chance to sit behind in the Metro that we never got a chance to talk about. How about the effort that Redline Rocket Man put forth? He was fourth in that Metro. I mean, he closed really well up the inside. I know Pentland was ecstatic about the performance from his rookie pacing colt, and Louis Waugh was really pleased with that effort as well.
Yeah, he's nice colt.
Very
nice colt.
Yep.
You know what I mean? He may not be the best one right now. Bojangles might have something to say about that, but he's a really nice colt.
James McDonald with 10 wins, over the course of the week, as well as Doug McNair with 8, and Travis Cullen with 4 wins. They're rounding out those driver standings, and just another ho-hum week for a bunch of these guys as well. I know no Bob McClure on this list, but I'm sure he'll take not being on this list if it means capturing a Metro Pace title.
Yeah, I would have to say for sure. Just a great night. And are we doing the trainers too?
As for trainers here,
there. Look at Luke.
We spoke about a couple of the guys. Luc Belay, again, a big weekend for him, as well as Doc Moore as well. You could see those earnings almost identical there. And
$500.
Yep, and big win percentages as well with the limited starters that they sent out. And Greg McNair, another solid week for him, and Nick Galucci as well.
It's nice to see the Galucci on the board. Usually this time he's pretty well dominating it through the summer.
Not often you see Nick Galucci on the sidelines on a stakes-filled Saturday night, right? And but he still had a big week with 5 starters and 3 of them finding the winner's circle. So a good week for him. One of them getting a job done with a career starter who put forth their career effort was career debut was Favoritism. I think getting it done with major money at odds of 17-1, and I'm drawing a blank on the other winner there for Nick Galucci, but a good week for him as well. We spoke about tonight's program. We're going to dig into the replays here on tonight's program, and let's start off in race number 1. Here, as we're going to kick off the early pick 5, guaranteed at $75,000. We've got a field of 8, Randy. This is a nice group of rookie trotting fillies that we're going to have going postward here in this spot.
One kind of stands out.
For me, it does at least.
Me too.
And it's going to be one that stands out to me who's going to be making her 2nd career start. And on July 4th, Rhonda May Kay, she made her career debut, and that was a really good effort there, Randy. We haven't seen her since, but she's got a qualifying effort under her belt on September 12th as she gears up for her return to the races, and it's an effort that you'd love to highlight as well.
Yeah, let's take a look at Rhonda May Kay, and I mean, how about the ones that she was in against Ardon, Pierre, Pierre Ho Emerald. She won, didn't she?
Yep,
Just her last start. So this is an interesting qualifier. Ardon and T.H. Monica and Pierre Ho Emerald. All racing well. Now, Rhonda May, Jody doesn't do much with her. He just kind of sits back with her and just lets her, kind of fill up on the end of it. But what is the most impressive to me is the fact that she does this in 1:55 and He's not asking her to do nothing. And that's a mile and 55. And I'm telling you, there's not too many other ones in here. Maybe the horse coming up from Lexington Night Stalkers games, but the rest of them, they are going to be more or less, hard spun to go a mile and 56, and she does 55 that easy. She should improve even more off of that. Does have the 8-hole out here, but that doesn't bother me in the least. She's got away from the rail, no issues. She had the 6-hole in her first start, got away in the deuce, so I think she should be good to go, John.
Yeah, I would have to say. I'm curious obviously this filly, daughter of Muscle Mass, one lifetime start, never was able to participate in any of the provincial programs. There's one more gold left. I'm curious to see if that's the direction these, Doug Bowens and Russ Taylor are going to opt to go. But I think this is an important start here for their filly to just kind of get some, not that she needs any confidence, but just to kind of get a good tightener under her belt. But I think that qualifying effort is going to have her sharp here against this group. But there's some other ones that merit respect. We went with the same top 4. A bunch of us did. Night Stalker Games. She was taking on some pretty good fillies in Kentucky. She's going to come back. She's going to come make her debut here in Ontario. I really do think that this is a filly that merits some respect as well.
Yeah, Pete Shoddy, he's been around here a long time. He always comes up with 1 or 2 real nice horses, and this looks like it's going to be his newest protege. And you're right, she's been racing very, very good. Already trotted a mile 53.
And I think Trinity's Diamond, one that's going to exit some tries in New York. The last time we saw her here on August 7th, you watched that effort, Randy. She was absolutely flying on the end of it. So this is a filly that, again, I was waiting for her to come back, and then she went to New York, and here she comes back here in Ontario in a maiden group or in an Honors of One class, and she hooks Rhonda May Kay, who I think that is probably going to be the one to beat here in this spot, outside draw or not.
Yeah, and I mean, that when we only did see her that one start back on August the 7th here or whatever, that was a pretty loaded start.
Yep.
Pat's Queen was in there, Social Wizard was in there, there were some nice horses in there.
I remember Scott Young came right at her, turning for home, and it looked like maybe he was going to get up alongside her. He was just about to, and looked like he was going to give her a run. And as soon as the head of the lane came, this filly did some trotting and just absolutely took off from them. So a really nice career debut for this one of this daughter of Muscle Mass. We're going to move on here to race number 2, and this is a pretty good field too, isn't it? I mean, a field of 7, similar to what we saw last week as well. We're going to get a chance to see P.L. Spencer, My Friend Jose, LMC Wagon Wheel, all competing against the likes of one another yet again. We're also going to see the return of Mona Lishi. We highlighted a couple of her qualifying efforts, or the most recent one, as she gears up back to returning to the races. She's had a nice rookie campaign, 3 wins and 5 tries. I'm not sure what to make of her in this particular spot, Randy. I think there's some other horses that are a bit tighter and maybe have a bit more to offer at this current point than her.
Yeah, the big thing is, what does he want to do with her? Is he using this just to get her prepped up for something down the road? Because, she's a 3-year-old trotting filly with the rail, and she's in against a 4-year-old trotting horse that's trotting really good right now, and a bunch of our best 3-year-old trotting colts too. So she's in fairly snug.
Yep.
And, but normally she does a good account of herself. I'm not going to use her in here tonight, John, and we're going to show the replay. And my focus is going to be My Friend Jose. But we're also going to get to see the winner, P.L. Spencer, and we're also going to get to see the 7-horse LMC Wagon Wheel through this one. So let's roll this one. And where I'm going with My Friend Jose, who Herb Holland going to send in shoeing change on this guy tonight. Aluminum to flip-flops up front. Now watch Trevor here coming down the lane. The horse up front looks like it's an easy winner, but he's going to make a break when he gets a little bit further down, and Trevor's going to really have no place to go but up the inside. Louis going to be taking the outside run. Now right here, he gets this horse of James's, gets fumbling. Here comes Trevor. Here comes Bobby with Spencer. But Trevor took a bad interference to get him going, and I think he kind of like lost his momentum. You see him just kind of like give up at that point, So a good third, interfered with, and I think he can come back with another good effort in here. Billy Davis going to be picking up the drive tonight. What I'm hoping is that, maybe this might be one of those races where a lot of these 3-year-olds are prepping. More or less, it's kind of the way Bobby drove P.L. Spencer last week. He didn't do a whole lot, but when everything collapsed, who was there to pick up the pieces? He didn't have to over-race him, but he got the job done. And I think that that's kind of what they're looking for in here. But and I know, sometimes when you try to get cute, it works against you. I don't think they need to be cute with My Friend Jose.
Look at his best effort several starts ago. It was a half in 55, and he went gate to wire, and he completely just put the pedal down and kept on rolling. He doesn't seem to race as sharp when he gets a bit of a breather in that middle half. When he just keeps on going, That's his best course of action.
Reminds me a little bit of Mr. Magic.
Okay.
Goes to the front, and if he's in his class, how do you beat him?
Exactly.
He'll let them get up alongside of him, but then he seems to be able to get there.
He's going to have the tactical advantage over this group here. He's got another good draw to work with. He never looked comfortable, though, around that final turn, right? I mean, he lost a few lengths on landing on time, who made the miscue there halfway down the lane, as you highlighted.
Going to the flops tonight. Okay. Maybe the sore feet,
and
right?
Again, I mean, we got a good draw to work with. This is a horse who's handy. Wouldn't be shocked if Billy elects to take an aggressive approach. It's what I factored in if I wanted to put him on top. I went to LMC Wagon Wheel. I mean, I think this is a guy who's got some gate speed. You're going to get Doug McNair aboard here in this spot as Louis opts to go to a Luc Blais trainee, and this guy's pretty sharp right now too. And a big shout out to Ben Arjan, who surpassed $50 million in career earnings as well.
Oh, congratulations. LMC Wagon Wheel, he was interfered with, in my opinion, if you see on the head on, he was interfered with in that last race just as much as my friend Jose. When James run and he had to move him like kind of out into the track, both of them had to jerk their horse one way. So your horse took some interference and only got beat in neck last quarter, 26-2.
Yeah, but a wide open race. I think that PL Spencer, again, I'm going to use him on my pick 5 ticket because I think he's got a good post where he can work out a favorable trip. And my friend Jose, again, I think he's a big factor here in race number 2. We're going to move on to race number 5 here. This closes out that early pick 5 sequence. We've got a field of 10 here. Non-winners of 2,500 last 4 class, and we've got some horses here that I think are in some pretty good spots to try and build some confidence. One horse in particular who I think has been pretty sharp, even though he got beat last time out. Let's Get Rocked. This guy's been pretty sharp. He's hit the board in 3 of his last 4. Last time out, that was a pretty quick mile though, Randy. And 49-4 took on the likes of a big class dropper and Captain Fear Not. He's going to have every chance to kind of replicate a winning performance here. But I think Batter Up Hanover is intriguing coming from the beat treks. What say you?
I say, yeah. Where did you go?
I went to the 8-horse Rapasso. I'm going to take a shot with this guy adding Lasix. I've backed this guy in a couple of his outings. I figure he's going to be value yet again. Why not just keep going with him?
Who is this the brother to again?
This is the brother to Tarasi.
Tarasi, yes, right, yeah. No, I like the Racing Hill. The Racing Hill lineage so far. Anytime that I've had anything to do with any of them or watched them race, I like the way they race. I got him in for 3rd, so I can see where you're going. Let's Get Rocked. You brought his name up. I mean, last week, Cliff tried him up into the optional 30. Maybe just a little bit too tough for him. Now he comes back to that optional 20. So I got him in for 2nd. But yeah, Batter Up Hanover. Let's take a look at his last start at Grand River Raceway for Benny Blue Eyes Hollingsworth. Jason Ryan doing the driving this night, and Todd Ratchford will be driving him. Big thing with Batter Up Hanover that I think anyway, and I've never drove him, but it's just my opinion. If you save that brush, my goodness, can he ever fire on the end of it? He's a very, very fast kind of a horse in the 2-hole right here for Jason Ryan. And, no matter how many times I look at Grand River replays there, I just get kind of weirded out sometimes when I see 51 on the end of it. I know it's an incredibly fast track now, but that is a fast mile. And that's what he ends up pacing here, a mile and 51. Batter Up Hanover. He stayed up into those kind of hot fractions though. They're at the half and 55. I find when they race him like in that second over sort of way, miss all that early stuff, and then fire him on the end of it, I find he's got a big kick.
Yeah, and he took on a pretty sharp horse too, right? RJ Ringo, and he worked out a pretty good trip. I think he merits respect in here because he's got a good draw to work with. I think Todd's got options with this guy, and he really fits this group really well. I
think so.
I can't remember if I used him in my pick 5 tickets. I might have left him off, and I might end up regretting it. I do think Let's Get Rocked is one that I think he could be the one to beat in this spot. I think he'll go off as the race favorite personally.
He's coming back down into a class that he's pretty tough in.
Big time. We're going to move on here now to race number 8, and this is a pretty good group that we're going to get a chance to see go postward as well. An interesting group, I should say, of fillies. I thought this was the trot race in race number 9. We'll get to that momentarily, but still a nice, wide open, competitive group of fillies here in race number 8. We saw Tishin get the job done last time out. You and I both talked about if she gets a helmet to chase Randy, I think she can bounce back with a pretty big effort. That's exactly what she did in a crush job that night. But I believe in Angel's also going to be making her 2nd start here for new trainer Dave Maneri. I thought that was a pretty good effort at first asking.
I did. Yeah, I thought so too, but still with the 2nd status, right? You know what I mean? So I threw her in for 3rd. I believe in Angels, but I love her. I think that she could come up with a big one. Maybe I'm wrong. Meadowview Rothy, I threw her in for 2nd, John. She got interfered with in that last start, and wow, did she ever make a big recovery up there. I like the way she's trotting, a 4-year-old alarm detector. So I'm going to use her as part of it as well. But Titian, what I have her down as jog, huge improvement.
Yep.
And that's what all I took from last week. Like, she raced great, but it's the way the improvement came is just unbelievable. So let's take a replay of her in that last start, and had the 8-hole near bookended at 27-4 out, 28 flat on the end of it. And I mean, the first time that they raced her here, the first couple of times there, to me, she just showed weakness.
Yep.
She wasn't weak tonight. This was just a totally different horse in here tonight. Jody going to be picking himself up a really, really live catch drive with James being out of town. And it just, again, look at the way that she's doing this. It just seemed like every other time I seen her, she always appeared to me like she was a little bit weak. But there's no weakness here. I mean, this is after a first over effort. Anytime James asked her, she powered on. I say she's a free square tonight.
Yeah, and one that I think likely going to go off as the race favorite. Again, did it off a helmet. I mean, just seems, it doesn't matter how soft you rate her up front. She just doesn't have that same level of interest late in the mile when you put her up there. But you give her a target. This filly's always put forth, in most cases, has put forth some pretty good efforts. So she could start to build some confidence here in this spot. But I went to I Believe in Angels. I think that was a pretty good effort. First start for the new connections, and added Lasix in that effort. I thought, maybe you could argue she should have gone by. She did get a clean shot. A rival broke to her outside, and that gave her, free real estate.
This will be
there.
second start Lasix.
But now I think she'll be even sharper here in this outing. And so Tishin and I Believe in Angels, I think the ones to beat here in this spot. Supergirl Molly, if the efforts that we saw on August 21st and August 14th show up, I think she's got a big shot. But she looked like she was already all done as she was turning for home last time out.
It's funny because Dougie drove Baden in her last start from the 9-hole, and I had her in as a locked in with an exclamation point. I thought she was phenomenal, and he chooses to go to Supergirl Molly. So maybe he obviously that way, but I think that Tyler Jones picking himself up a live driver here with Baden. She was some good last start,
and one that he's familiar with, right?
Yeah,
he's driven her a bunch here in her young career. We're going to move on to race number 9. This is the last leg of the pick 6. This will kick off the late double as well, and a field of 6 here, but this is a really competitive field of 6. 2-1 morning line favorite is going to be What About Elmo after going a pretty big mile, a lifetime best 151 and 2 last time out, one that you really liked and what was a crush job in that effort. But now you're going to take on Safe Conduct. You're going to take on Emoji Hanover, who's looking for a 4th consecutive victory. I'm curious to know which direction you went here tonight.
I went Safe Conduct.
Okay, shoeing change as well. And what do you think of that? You liking the shoeing change?
I do, yeah.
Okay.
Flops to steel up in front, I like the flops on a horse. I think they race good, but I think when push comes to shove and you need the speed, you got to go to a little lighter shoe, and that's what Camilla's going to do tonight. So let's take a replay look on September the 12th in the preferred in his last start. Safe Conduct's been spending a lot of time in those preferreds and the open, and I think that they got him really, really tight, really, ready to, for a big effort, and he's going to need it in here. He is in rugged tonight, but he's a pretty rugged horse himself too. So let's take a look at Chris Christoforou in his last start in the preferred. He's only going to finish 6th in here, but I mean, look at some of the horses: Osceola, Drawn Impression, Gaines Hanover. I mean, Amigo Volo. I mean, it was the who's who of the bunch. And look at the body language on Chris. You know what I mean? I mean, at this point, he knows he's not getting anything, but he's just like letting him kind of stay with it. Now he's going to take a drop down into this start, and I think that he's going to really appreciate the drop down. Now, a couple of nice horses he's going to have to face in here, but when Safe Conduct is on his game, he's as good as anybody, and especially on the end of the mile. Short field like this, if they go a little bit too quick and he gets brought into it, he can reel off one of those 26 quarters.
I'll tell you what, who else could reel off one of those sub 27 final quarters? Emoji Hanover.
Yeah.
I mean, she's been razor sharp, a bit more relaxed than she's been in some starts prior, and we kind of talked about, I wonder if we're going to see Louis kind of drive her differently than we've seen the last few tries, but why would you? Especially with the way that she's finishing up her miles. I mean, as the moment she hits the head of the lane and starts to see some horses in front of her, she just takes off. Took her a few strides to get into gear, and once she did, she absolutely just flew home. So that's a pretty sharp horse. But to your point, Randy, there's no Osceolas or Amigo Volos in this group here tonight. This should be Safe Conduct's opportunity, a really good opportunity to pick up a victory. But there still are some good ones in here as well.
We always talk like how important bridle changes can be,
Yep.
And ever since Luke Blais went to the Pelling pacifier on Emoji Hanover, she's never been beat.
Yeah, see. And again, the talent and the speed was there. It was her quirks, right? She just made miscues in a couple of those outings here against softer company on the big track, and was able to just, he makes that bridle change to your point, and she's able to start piecing it together. And look, I was always told, try to stay away from mares that maybe aren't on their game, but stick with mares that are. And this mare is on her game right now, so I'm going to go with her to make it 4 in a row here. So there's a look at this Monday night 10-pack here. We're going to be with you guys all night as well to preview the action race by race. But we also want to get a chance to look at some ticket ideas here. And let's start off with your Pick 5 ticket, Randy, and go through your opening sequence.
Okay, mine's fairly simple, John. Got an all and spread a bit in race number 5, but a lot of singles. So I'm going to single Ronda Mackay in the first, and I'm hitting the all button in here. I like a lot of horses in here. My friend Jose is going to be my top pick, but I could see this race going a lot of different ways. In race number 3, I'm going to single Nazy. Race number 4, I'm singling Muscle Fashion. And in race number 5, I'm going to use all 4 of my picks, 4, 6, 7, and 8 for a $28 ticket. Oh, and by the way, too, before we talk about your ticket, you know what day this is, right?
No, what day
this
is
is official Johnny Dizzle Day.
I don't even know what that is.
2 years ago on this day, Jonathan Drury had a big night, and me and Elisa called it Jonathan Dizzle Day.
Okay.
It's the Dizzle Day. And then last year, we didn't race on this day. And now here we are back here again tonight and on official Jonathan Dizzle Day. So Jonathan, wherever you are, I have officially named a day after you. And I know he's not going to be here tonight. Just had the one drive. Maybe he's out celebrating
I'm sure you tipped
Dizzle
him off.
Day.
I'm sure you tipped him off, and that's why that he's not.
It's another
here to
Festivus
drive.
miracle.
Yeah, any excuse for a holiday, you're all over.
I'm all
aren't you?
into it.
You're
Can we
all
get a
over.
Lou Day for this?
I learn something new every day, or every card, I should say. Never mind every day. Pick 5 ticket ideas. You could probably see my ticket. Oh, we'll show it now. Race number 1, I'm going to kick things off here with Ronda Mackay, and now Night Stalker Game is going to take over favorite status here. I'll go 3 deep in race number 2, Randy. I feel pretty good about my 3. I'm with you, all in on Nacy. Race number 4, I will go 1, 5, 7. And race number 5, I'll just use the 7 and the 8. Let's Get Rocked and Ripasso. But I'm nervous about, obviously, the 4-horse, as well as a Century Inspector, as well as Batter Up Hanover.
We have the 2 same keys.
Yeah, I think you have the right horses in the final. Like, if you get there, I don't think you'll get beat. So we're gonna best of luck here if you're tailing along. A couple of different ticket ideas as well. We have to skip through the plays board here, and we'll just kind of take you through the night and see what we like. We'll talk about what we like, but you can also check it out on our X page, Woodbine Mohawk Park, and find our plays board there. 0 minutes to go here before we kick off this Monday night program. As always, it kicks off with a $75,000 guaranteed Pick 5. We'll be back momentarily. Good luck.